quotes really quick. Nimmo said, we can turn it around in an instant. Alonso said, we've just got to win. Winning solves everything. But what's going on in that Mets locker room right now?
I actually agree with some of those stuff. I think the Mets are just one big moment from making a turnaround. They saw it last year, but you have to also look at yourself in the mirror and kind of ask yourself, where's our leadership? Why was I with the team, even though I was in a sling? Because I felt like the team needed, some of the leaders around them. They needed to see leadership. Now, the one question I have for the Mets is, who is going to stand up and say, I'm the leader in this team, and this is what we should do to make things happen? Because you can't just sit out there, see your lead go away. So much work, 156 games. It's an entire season almost. And you haven't really found a way to figure something that you need to do in the last 15, 20 days. Everything starts with leadership. And I think they need to look at themselves in the mirror and kind of figure out what they need to do. They have enough experience, enough players, enough talent to go out there and figure something out to beat up the little teams like the Nationals.
And it's funny just looking at last week when we had them on, we had on Monday, well, we didn't have them on Monday, but Monday, Pete Alonso hit the walk-off, which stopped the losing streak. And we're like, okay, that was that big moment. He talked about a big moment. The next night, Lindor and the guys go off. His wife plays the violin. It's like, okay, things are starting to heat up. So in our mind, the Mets are back on track enough to at least get in that playoff spot. And then what happens? Like, what happens? We're not in that clubhouse. We don't know, but Pedro's right. Who's going to be the one to say, guys, we've let ourselves go way too far. Now we're in this position. We have to find a way to win these last 6 games, no matter what. If Cincinnati goes on to win 6, okay, we put ourselves in that position. But if they slip up one time, we need to be ready to snatch them. And when you're the team that's playing chase, you're just looking for any reason to be inspired.
I think the challenge, though, offensively, all those names you mentioned are stepping up. They're the ones doing it. And it's like, all right, and you don't want to point fingers, you don't want to blame, but that was always a challenge for me, Pedro. Like, if offensively we're going or we're struggling, Jimmy, you and I, we could call a hitters meeting, right? We could start doing some things to try to turn the bats around. Right. But if we're scoring runs and we're doing it, but we're still losing, I always felt like a little weird to call out the pitchers. Like, is that a pitcher to do that? Or do we still, as the position players, have to do that?
No, I don't agree with that. I think what they need to do right now is actually take it personal and just evaluate themselves around what they have done. First time all year, after being all year in contention, actually one of the favorites to actually do anything
100%.
against any team. And you found yourself 4 days ago in the middle of everything, and all of a sudden you see yourself out there. You need to check yourself. And also, it's all mental. At this time of the year, you're not going to get in better physical shape. You're not going to do anything bigger than you have done the entire season. Right. You have already put the numbers. Now what you need to do is mentally stay in the game for the 2.5 hours, 2 hours and 38 minutes on average that they go, in a game. 100% in that game, one game at a time. You can't try to do too much or too little. You have to just stay engaged with the game for 2 hours and 38 minutes, 100%, and hold everybody accountable. Mental mistakes are not allowed, especially in the situation that they are.
Let's take a look at the remaining schedules, because who you face in these last 6 games is so important. The interesting thing with the Mets, all 6 games are on the road. The only 4 teams in Major League Baseball with a worst road record: Pittsburgh, Colorado, Minnesota, and Chicago White Sox. 4 of the 5 worst teams in MLB, so they're going to have to turn that around. The Reds, they got the Pirates right now at home, then at the Brewers. The Diamondbacks had the hardest schedule.